What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 10K on the Bay, my journey to 10,000 live listings on eBay. Thank you for joining me for what I think is the best video I have done to date. I am going to show you guys exactly the math and sort of the activity that you need on a weekly basis to be a successful eBay or Amazon reseller. It's the same math either way. Just depends on what platform you're doing it on. But I think this is really a cool way to look at it. If you want to download this worksheet, on the top left corner, you can go to bit.ly/10K on the Bay and actually print this worksheet. I only ask that you like, subscribe, and share this video because I do think it's a very concise way to learn how to resell things on the internet. So let's just get straight into it. The first question I ask is, how many hours can you realistically work on reselling this week? Forget about the future, forget about your grandiose goals. What can you do this week? You have to factor in your kids, if you have any, your job. Maybe you're unemployed and you have all the time in the world. How many hours can you realistically work on eBay this week? Now, the second part is, how many listings can you realistically do per hour? Now, this is going to have a huge variance depending on your skill in sourcing, shipping, photography, listing, customer service, item prep. There's so many things that go into getting an item onto the internet and shipping it properly and fulfilling the order. So let's just say you can do 5 per hour and you can work on eBay for 10 hours. That's a weekly goal of 50 items per week. And that's how you're going to get A times B, which is the weekly goal. We're going to plug this into our spreadsheet in the top left corner, and it's going to give you an idea of what you need to do weekly. You can divide that by 7 to find out what you're going to do daily. Now, the third part is, how did you improve your relationships with suppliers this week? This is probably the largest part of reselling, in my opinion, which is your sourcing. Did you meet a new manager at a thrift store? Did you call a new wholesaler? Did you meet a new estate sale director? Did you go to China to a fair to figure out how to wholesale goods? What did you do to actually improve your relationships with suppliers each week? This part never ends. If you're going to be a reseller, you're going to be working on this the rest of your life. If you don't improve the relationships with your suppliers each week, it's going to be equally hard every week. But if you improve your relationships, it's kind of like a hack. Because think about it, if you have a relationship with a wholesaler, a manufacturer, or a thrift store manager, and they just hold or sell you the goods that are profitable, you just basically eliminated your sourcing time. You can spend the rest of the time on logistics. When I was talking to big sellers, I originally thought they were spending a lot of time sourcing, but they're not. Once you have sourcing locked down, you can figure out the logistics of, maybe leveraging some financing to grow your business faster. Maybe you're working on, faster ways to ship, faster ways to process. But again, suppliers is huge. Having a profitable product is a huge leg up on the competition. So I want people to work on that every single week. The fourth thing I want you to work on is stepping outside of your comfort zone. What did you do this week? Did you focus on a new product line? Did you research a new niche like, women's pumps? Did you learn women's pumps? For me, that would be out of my comfort zone since I don't know too much about that particular product. Did you send in your first FBA shipment? What did you do that was uncomfortable? So by definition, the status quo is just the same thing. So you can't expect your life to change if you do the same thing week after week. So you have to step out of your comfort zone. I want you to record that so you can see how far you've gone week after week. The fifth thing I'm going to do that I want you to focus on is, what process did you improve this week and how? Did you make your sourcing faster by, adding somebody to speed dial? Did you, put your measurement on a table instead of using a tape measure to improve measuring? Did you get someone to help you proofread titles? Whatever you did to improve your processes, throw that in this worksheet. If you work on this every single week, I have no doubt that you will improve and become a successful reseller. But the key is just continuous improvement. And guess what? You don't get to stop working on these once you've made it. You've got to keep going. In fact, the higher you move up in the food chain, the better you have to be at all these, because it gets more and more competitive as you move higher and higher and higher. And also, margins start to get slimmer and slimmer as you start hiring people if you decide to go that route. So here in the spreadsheet, we're going to track your number of new listings, which is the number of listings you throw on the eBay per week. In the example I'm going to use, we're going to scroll down to the sample $1,000 a week game plan. Let's say you have 20 hours a week. You can do 3.5 listings per hour. That's 70 total items a week. I just did this so it's a nice round number of 10 items per day listed and sourced. Now, of course, it's not going to be modular like that. It's going to be more like a couple days sourcing, a couple days listing, but hopefully it averages out to 10 listings per day, and you have an inventory where you sell 10 items per day. Now, I think it's very reasonable to sell 1% of your items per day, meaning if you have 1,000 items, you could sell 10 per day. And that means you have a good quality items that people want. Expecting to sell things faster than that, in my opinion, you're going to have to do one of two things. You're going to have to sell something that's really in demand or something that has really low competition. And both of those are challenging. It's easier to find common items that sell quickly, and that's why I'm basing this off of 1%. But I know plenty of people in the reselling community that sell things much, much, much slower, or much, much, much faster. It just depends on the category you sell in, but we're going to use 1% daily to give you guys an idea of what this looks like. Also, my store, the Low Key Husky, if you guys want to take a look at it, as of the middle of November 2017, I am right in this bucket. So you guys know I created the Low Key Husky store to show people how to make $1,000 per week. It's right in that bucket right now. I have about $50,000 worth of stuff listed in that store, 50 to 60,000, and I have best offer available, which means people can make an offer if they want. So if you look at this spreadsheet, amount listed, I put that you should have $45,000 worth of stuff listed. If you have $45,000 worth of stuff listed and 1% sells a day, that's $450 a day in sales. Now we're going to base this off of a very basic rule, which is buy for a third, sell for the full amount, and try to net 1/3, meaning your expenses are going to be under 1/3. So in this example, you're going to buy something for $15 or less, sell it for $45 or more, and keep your expenses under $15. That's how you're going to do this specific product. And in this model, which I think is very, very doable, is a person listing and selling 10 items per day. You can do this in just a couple of hours. And I think this is very reasonable for somebody part-time. Here's the part that takes the most skill. It's learning how to buy 70 items a week that make $15 profit. That's not that easy. The rest of it, in my opinion, is easy because shipping is the same for everyone in the country. Drafting, photography, that's all the same. It's the same process no matter where you are. This is why Amazon has grown really, really big with the FBA program, because they've basically done that part for the buyer. For the seller. So now the seller is just out there sourcing. The rest of it, since it's repeatable and modular, we can teach you how to do that. If you want to join our Facebook group, it's called the Reseller Fam. You can go in there and ask questions on how to improve your process. The one part of it that's going to be the most challenging is that people are going to be reluctant to teach you how to source. And this is key, because this is one of the reasons why I feel like I've had some animosity from older sellers, and that's because they're not necessarily as willing to give up their sourcing. And I get it. It's because it's taken them years and years and years to figure out specific niches that are profitable, and younger people are coming up and just sharing all these ideas and potentially destroying the market. Now, I just want to point out really quick that I think it's the opposite. If you look at, let's say, 90s vintage clothing, right? Everyone talks about it. Everybody knows it's profitable. It makes the market bigger and bigger and bigger. So now, whenever I find a vintage piece, not only is it relatively common because I know what to look for, I know a lot more than if I didn't share. So now I have a huge pool of things that I can actually pick from. The market is also much bigger, and the market is much stronger. So even in the short time I have been reselling, I've seen the value of vintage items grow. But let's say you were selling vintage carburetors, right? And you never tell anybody about it. So nobody cares. Nobody knows how cool they are. The market is just going to slowly get smaller, in my opinion. Of course, there's not much competition, but it's also not a market that's growing. So I disagree with the fact that you're totally ruining your market. In my opinion, since I've been reselling, most niches introduce you to different levels of reselling in the same category, and it's more profitable to share than to not share. The exception would be if it's super limited and you share it in a large Facebook group, you probably will lose that deal. So I recommend keeping a small group of people that you share ideas with, not necessarily everyone, but just keeping all ideas to yourself. That's not a good way to grow. Okay, so with $45,000 listed, I think you can reasonably have $450 in sales a day. Now I'm going to go over a couple of keys that I think are going to help you achieve these goals. And these are two major keys that I think you should just focus on. The formula to make $1,000 a week, simply put, is to double your money once a week. So you get $1,000, you did $3,000 in revenue, $1,000 or less in expenses. Now you have $1,000 left pre-tax. Of course, you still have to pay taxes on it, but I want to point out really quick that when you own your own business, there are a lot more write-offs than when you have a regular job. So I would take $52,000 in my own business all day over working for someone for that amount. Plus, I control my entire destiny. It's totally different. Okay, so the better your skill, the less items you need to create this differential. Meaning you could sell 20 items at $150 and net $50 profit, or you could sell 100 items at $30 and make $10 profit. That's totally different. That's 5 times less work if you have the ability to source things that are $150, whether that's online at home, sniping stuff on eBay, whether it's going to the flea market, whether it's going to garage sales. That's where the level of skill matters. That's where you see people who don't look like they're doing much, but they make a lot of money. That's because they're selling the premium items. But from what I have seen, it's very difficult to have both high revenue and high volume. An example of that would be the company Porsche. They sell thousands of Porsches for hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's one of the only companies in the world that has both a super, super high expensive price tag and also very, very high volume. It's very difficult to achieve that, but it's not impossible. There are people who do both. Okay, the second thing is, with practice, patience, and experience, you can learn. In my opinion, almost anybody can do this. You can sell 10 items a day for $45 that you pay $15 or less for. Okay, and I want you to focus on this. You have to average $45 to really, in my opinion, comfortably make a full-time income. If you sell your items for less than $45, of course, you can still make a full-time income. It's just not that comfortable because you're going to have to sell a lot of items to really make up the differential. Imagine at $22 instead of $45 is twice as much work, which usually means you don't have as much time to start learning a specific niche. And if you're selling items that are $22, usually they're very common. So that's not something that's going to have a huge profit margin, and it's also not going to require that much research, in my opinion. To really start making the money, you've got to put the homework in, you've got to research things, you've got to get into it. This is why it's much easier to sell things that are a hobby, because you enjoy it, and it's going to be something that you continuously learn and improve and grow with, and that's going to be really profitable for you in the long run. Okay. Now, here's the caveat that some people are not going to like, but it's definitely a lot easier if you have a little bit of money, because then you can have a larger inventory and you don't have to rely on your sell-through being that fast. As an example, I'm using a 1,000 item store, which is the max for a premium store, which is $60 per month on eBay.com. I think that's extremely affordable. You're only paying 6 cents per listing to reach millions of people on eBay. That's super, super cheap. You can't build your own Shopify website and drive traffic to it for only 6 cents. That's insanely cheap. So even if you are running a Shopify store, you have a massive Amazon business, I still think you should have a cute little eBay store where you can learn just how to do eBay. eBay is really, really, really consistent compared to other platforms that I have seen. I know plenty of eBayers that make almost the same amount of money every single day. It's very stable once you have the correct, type of inventory. Or if you really want to sell the high demand stuff, you can sell on Amazon and eBay. You can use eBay just to sell your returns from Amazon. There's so many different benefits with eBay and a lot less restrictions. Okay, so I know it's not popular, but if you had 15 grand, I think you could comfortably make $1,000 per week, because you're gonna spend the 45 on something, the 15 on things that's worth 45 or more. Now, I also want you to remember, if you have best offer, and most people do, try to have at least 60 grand listed, because if you're lucky, you're gonna get 75% of what you're asking. If you offer, let's say $100 plus shipping, you're going to get lowball offers in the $50, $60 range or less all the time. And realistically, you're going to be accepting an offer like $75, $80 range usually on eBay. However, there are some people that put $85 and just do not accept best offer and just wait. That's totally a great way to do it. In my opinion, you can do either way. I've seen people successful at both. I've also seen people start auctions at $85, and they'll get 85 when it sells, or they'll get more if they can get lucky and create a bidding war with just two people. Only takes two people to create a bidding war. So guys, I think this is really, really useful. If you guys want to join our Facebook group, it's Reseller Fam on Facebook. I put the link in here if you guys want to check it out. You can follow me on Instagram at 10K on the Bay. I'm also one of the founders of the Reseller Fam Instagram. So you can go on there, get some tips and tricks on how to find stuff that's profitable. You can subscribe to my channel. Please like and subscribe. If you want to join my mastermind group with 100 people, we're not giving you any new information. Basically, we're just making sure that you fill out this form and you continuously make progress each week. You don't need to buy a course on eBay necessarily. If you just slowly learn how to buy things and sell things. Now, that takes time and it's not super easy. But what my mastermind group is for accountability. And also, I would love to see you guys at our annual event in Kansas City. I'm super, super excited. Love to have 500 people every year go. We're about halfway sold out. If you have any questions, reach out to me via email, 10konthebay@gmail.com. But you're going to be networking with 500 of the best resellers around the country, people who are ambitious, exciting, have the same goals as you. I'm super excited to meet all of you. Please let me know if you need anything in the future. Please comment. Let me know what you need. And everyone have a great day. See ya.